Before the Jade Giants and his compadres can do battle with the One Below All and save Bruce Banner, first they must come to terms with matters of the heart. All this and more in the pages of Immortal Hulk issue number 48. Let's hop on in together and find out what happens next, shall we? So then, this issue opens up with the first of what will be many beautiful little snapshots detailing the long and storied history between Bruce Banner, the Hulk, and Betty Ross. From meeting each other at the Diablo test site to falling in love, getting married, that one time Betty died, the time she came back as the Red Hulk, you know, they've had a lot going on. Through all these ups and downs, though, they always managed to find their way back to each other, and I guess you could certainly call their relationship now an up as we join them post-monstrous coitus. Man, you know, some days I can't believe it's my job to say this stuff into a microphone, and yet here we all are. Joe Fixit, who's currently in the Hulk's driver's seat, reiterates to Betty that he's not Bruce, and that while that was nice and everything, maybe it's not the best idea given what's going on with them right now. Betty actually ends up firing back with something I wasn't expecting, and that is she says it's not like Bruce ever paid her much attention ever since he came back to life. He only waltzed into her life and got her killed and resurrected as the Harpy again. And it's true, back at Shadow Base, Bruce was most definitely giving Betty the cold shoulder. Maybe he was horrified at what she'd become as the Harpy, maybe he blamed himself for dragging her into it again, who can say for certain. But that Joe was never actually afraid to look at Betty, and after all, her and Bruce are married. She did swear through sickness and in health, and all of Bruce's many different split personalities are just part of his sickness, right? This would almost be a heartwarming, touching little moment here, except for the fact that Joe feels compelled now to mention that he had left Bruce behind at the mercy of the leader in the place below all. And just like that, this sweet moment manages to sour completely. It's from there we transition on over to the other room where we see Jen Walters is hanging out with Jacqueline McGee. Jacqueline mentions how she's not used to seeing the quote-unquote real Jen, only for She-Hulk to say that she prefers her Hulk form, and that when she does become regular old Jen Walters again, that's usually because she is hiding. Jen laments her superhero future, giving how she threw in with her cousin and the other Gamma creatures against the Avengers, though if you're reading the Avenger book right now, the newest story is a She-Hulk base story, so oops. This feeling of loss and not knowing where to go next is reflected quite well in Jacqueline. She was a journalist, a storyteller, but now she doesn't have a paper, has no stories left to tell, but wants to see this particular story with the Hulk through to fruition no matter what. If nothing else, though, She-Hulk is able to get the Avengers off their collective backs by saying that she's looking after the Hulk now, and hopefully there aren't going to be any other dangerous freakouts in the near future. The Earth's mightiest heroes aren't taking any chances, though. They've fully united along with the Fantastic Four and several other Hulk-related characters like Brawn. Yeah, remember Brawn, everyone? I guess despite being the former totally awesome Hulk and being a Gamma person himself, he's never died before and as such never come in contact with the Green Door, so I guess he had nothing to add to the story. Now back at the quickly escalating domestic disturbance between Harpy and the Hulk, Betty really lets the Jade Giant have it, saying that their whole relationship has just been him running and hiding and her always having to go after and seek him. Oh sure, they get back together for a minute, but the Hulk is always on the run again, always a drifter. Always leaving poor powerless Betty Ross behind to pick up the shattered pieces of her life and try and survive until the next time it happens all over again. Hell, she just mentioned how she was falling in love with Joe Fixit, and even he did it. He had a whole secret life in Vegas completely away from Betty back in the day, and who's to say he won't do it all again? That's to say nothing of all the times Betty and Bruce have tried to kill each other in their different Hulkly forms, so yeah, it's a little bit of a toxic relationship, wouldn't you agree? Joe admits that at the end of the day he is a Hulk who hides, but not for the reasons Betty thinks. In fact, to explain this, we go all the way back to the inception of Joe Fixit as a persona. Bruce created him one night after being beaten half to death by his abusive father. Joe Fixit was created to be a tough guy, a man's man, to harden his and by extension Bruce's heart from anything that would ever hope to hurt them. But now, though, Joe is thinking differently. He's had so much time in the driver's seat, so much time in the light, and he's beginning to wonder if this is the kind of life he wants for himself anymore. Because here's the thing, Joe actually does love Betty too. In fact, when he stops and thinks about it, he's only ever loved her. And while loving a Hulk may be hard, it may be hurtful, at the end of the day, he hopes that she's willing to take this ride with him. Ultimately, though, the Harpy does not, though. The Harpy flies the coop once again. Don't be too mad at Betty. She has all the reason in the world to want to leave this situation right now. And don't worry, because her her and the Hulk look to both be stars of that new Defenders book coming soon, so I'm sure we will see this story continue somewhere. Now, despite putting his heart out on his sleeve and ultimately getting rejected, Joe Fixit is good to his word about wanting to try and be a better man than he was before, and step one is rescuing Banner. Because maybe, as Joe Fixit says, there is no such thing as good guys or bad guys. Maybe you're only good as your last act, and right now they're going to need a really big heroic act if they want to save Bruce from the literal devil. And so that was the Immortal Hulk issue number 48, everybody. A really wonderful calm before the storm. The love story between Bruce Banner, the Hulk, and Betty Ross is probably one of the longest and most tragic in all of comics, which is certainly saying something because comics is absolutely loaded to bursting with doomed lovers. This whole arc, and I didn't even really notice it until right here, right now, is all about Joe Fixit trying to become a better man, to literally try and fix himself. And this newest issue is all about him trying to lay his feelings bare, put his emotions on the line, and again, unguard his heart for the first time. Leave it to Al Ewing to zero in on something so quintessentially Hulk, finding the man within the monster, and that love ultimately makes us more human at the end of the day. Overall, I think I feel confident at giving this one another much well-deserved 9 out of 10, and I cannot wait to see how all of this ends up shaking out in just a few more issues.
Hey there everyone, it's your pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers, a lot of cool stuff offering up there, exclusive commentaries, exclusive polls, behind the scenes concept art for Capes and Quest. That's the brand new D&D show I've started soon. Never been a better time to become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help the channel grow and, help me continue to deliver content like what you just saw. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.